Hello dear students. Through this video we are going to study some elementary concepts in linear algebra. So first let us see the matrix representation of linear systems. Consider the following system of m linear equations in n unknowns x1, x2, etc. xn. M linear equations in n unknowns. So I have given here a set of m equations 1, 2, 3, etc. m equations. Let me read these equations. a11x1 plus a12x2 plus etc. a1n xn equal to b1. a21x1 plus a22x2 plus etc. a2n xn is equal to b2, etc. am1x1 plus am2x2 plus etc. amn xn equal to bm. So we have here m equations in n unknowns x1, x2, etc. xn. So these are a system of m equations in n unknowns. Now we can write this m linear equations in n unknowns in matrix notation. So in matrix notation, this system 1 can be written as ax equal to b in a very simple way, where A is the coefficient matrix given by A is equal to A11, A12, etc. A1n, the coefficients of x1, x2, etc. xn from the first equation. Second row is A21, A22, etc. A2n, coefficients of x1, x2, etc. xn from the second equation, and so on. am1, am2, etc. amn are the coefficients of x1, x2, etc. xn from the mth equation. So we have the coefficient matrix A as an m by n matrix, m rows and n columns. There are n columns. And we have capital X equal to x1, x2, etc. xn. So this is a column vector which is composed of the variables. And capital B is b1, b2, etc. bm, which are the right hand sides of this linear system of equations. Here capital X and capital B are column vectors. We assume that the coefficients a, j, k are not all 0, so that A is not a zero matrix. Note that X has n components, X being a column vector consisting of the variables x1, x2, etc. xn, it has n components. Whereas B, which represents the right hand sides of these m equations, it has m components. And the matrix AB obtained by attaching this B to A is called augmented matrix. So you can see that this is the coefficient matrix A, this is the right hand side matrix B, both these are attached together and we have the augmented matrix AB. The augmented matrix AB determines the system completely because it contains all the numbers appearing in 1. If all the bj's are equal to 0 in 1, then ax equal to 0 is called a homogeneous system. So let me explain this with the help of a particular example. Consider a system of equations 2x plus z equal to 3, x minus y minus z equal to 1, 3x minus y equal to 4. So I have written here 3 equations in 3 unknowns. So let us write the coefficient matrix. The coefficient matrix is obtained by writing the coefficients of x, y and z from the 3 equation. From the first equation it is 2, 0, 1. From the second equation we have 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1. From the third equation we have 3, minus 1, 0. So this is the coefficient matrix obtained by writing the coefficients of x, y, z from the 3 equations. So we have the coefficient matrix A. Now the matrix capital X is a matrix obtained by using the variables x, y, z. So this is a column vector obtained by using the variables as elements. Then we have capital B as a vector which is composed of the right hand side elements 3, 1, 4, and so we have the matrix B. So we have the coefficient matrix A and the 2 column vectors capital X and capital B. Now let me show you how we can write this augmented matrix. To get the augmented matrix, we are going to attach A to B. We are going to attach A and B. B is written along with A. So we have the matrix AB. So this is the augmented matrix AB. So this is how we get the augmented matrix. Attach the right hand side vector to the coefficient matrix A so that we have the augmented matrix AB. And you can see that capital A, the coefficient matrix, capital X, the column vector, and that is AX is equal to B, represents a matrix, gives a matrix representation corresponding to the given linear system. So let me write that for you. 2 0 1, then 1 minus 1 minus 1, 3 minus 1 0. So this is A, X, Y, Z gives you B equal to 3 1. So this is Ax equal to B, and the first equation can be read as 2x plus 0y plus z equal to 3. So that is the first equation. Second equation is 1x minus y minus z equal to 1. So that gives you the second equation given. Third equation can be read as 3x minus y plus 0z, that is equal to 4. So that gives you the third equation. So the given linear system can be written equivalently in matrix representation as Ax equal to B, and AB gives the augmented matrix. And when the right hand side is equal to 0, when for a particular set of equations the right hand sides are all equal to 0, it is called a homogeneous system of equations. When all the right hand side values are equal to 0, as in, I'll give you an example, say x plus 2y minus z equal to 0, then 2x minus y is equal to 0, then 3x plus y minus z equal to 0. So this is a system of three equations in three unknowns, of which the right hand sides are all equal to 0, and hence we call this system as a homogeneous system of equations. So this is a homogeneous system of equations. Now you are all familiar with elementary row transformations, that is that generates a new matrix from the original, a new equivalent matrix from the original one. So let us just go through those elementary row operations again. Now you can see that these elementary row transformations are equivalent to the operations that we do in corresponding system of equations. So I am going to give a comparison between the two. So let me give you the same example which I have given you earlier. So let me write down those equations. 2x plus z equal to 3, then x minus y minus z equal to 1, then 3x minus y is equal to 4. So the three equations in three unknowns. Now consider the first elementary row transformation, interchange of two rows. And before getting into this elementary row transformation, let me write down here the corresponding augmented system corresponding to these equations. 2 0 1 3, then 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, 3 minus 1 0 4. Augmented matrix corresponding to the given system of equations. Now let us consider these elementary row transformations. So the first elementary transformation is interchange of two rows. You can see that this is equivalent to interchange of two equations. So let me give you that first row transformation with respect to this equivalent matrix. By the first elementary transformation, let me interchange R1 and R2. By interchanging R1 and R2, we are simply writing R1 in place of R2 and R2 in place of R1. So R2 is written in place of R1, and the first row becomes the second row, 2 0 1 3. And since I have not done anything with respect to the third row remains intact. So 3 minus 1 0 4 is the third row. Now what does this interchange of two rows mean in case of the three equations? So interchange of two rows is equivalent to Interchange of two rows is equivalent to just interchange of the two equations x minus y minus z equal to 1. Then the first equation becomes the second one, 2x plus z equal to 3, and the third equation has no change, 3x minus y is equal to 4. And you can see that by interchanging the first two rows or interchanging the first two equations, this is the solution set is not going to be altered. Now let us consider the second and third row transformations together. Addition of a constant multiple of one row to another, then multiplication of a row by a non-zero constant. Now these corresponds to the corresponding changes with respect to equations. Addition of a constant multiple of one equation to another equation, then multiplication of a non-zero constant. So let us consider these aspects. So let me take this particular matrix and let us try to convert this matrix to another form. Let me keep the first row as it is, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, and let me take the second row, transform the second row in this way, r2 minus 2 r1. So I have multiplied the first row by 2 and subtracted it from the second row. Then what happens? So when we do such a transformation, this transformation is to be applied on every element of this row. So the first element becomes 2 minus 2, the second element becomes 0 minus 2 into minus 1, and hence we have 2. Then the third element becomes 1 minus 2 into minus 1, so we have 3. Then the last element becomes 3 minus 2 into 1, so 3 minus 2, it is 1. Then the last row, so let me just do with the second row for the time being, and let me explain this concept to you. So what we have done here is R2, the second row transformed as R2 minus 2R1. Now this is equivalent to the corresponding operation that we do in the given equations. And the given equation, so what we have done here is we have taken the second equation, 2x plus z minus 3, and that is that minus 2 times the first equation, x minus y minus z minus 1. So let us see how it is transformed. So this is the second equation, this is equation number 2 minus 2 times equation number 1. So 2 times equation number 1. So 2x minus 2x, it is 0. Then z plus 2z, we have 3z. Then minus 3 plus 2, it is minus 1, and we have plus 2y. Or we can write it as 2y plus 3z equal to 1. So this is how this row is getting transformed, 2y plus 3z equal to 1. So this row corresponds to the equation 2y plus 3z equal to 1. So that means these elementary row transformations are equivalent to corresponding operations that we do in linear equations. So clearly these operations do not alter the solution set. A linear system S1 is row equivalent to a linear system S2 if S1 can be obtained from S2 by finitely many elementary row operations. Now please note an important point. No column operations on the augmented matrix are permitted because they would generally alter the solution set. So please note this, column operations are not at all allowed in case of this solution of system of equations because that will alter the solution set. Now before proceeding to the next concept, let me complete this particular matrix. So let me convert the third equation to, according to the transformation, R3 to R3 minus 3 R1. I shall explain these transformations also. So for the time being, this transformation R3 minus 3 R1 transforms the first element to 0, second element minus 1 times minus 1, so minus 1 minus 3 into minus 1. So minus 1 plus 3, it is plus 2. Then the third element is 0 minus 3 into minus 1. So we have plus 3, and the fourth element is 4 minus 3 into corresponding element in the first row. So we have 4 minus 3 into 1. This is equal to 4 minus 3 equal to 1. So we have all the 4 elements. Now I can still make this matrix simple. You can see that this second row and the third row consists of the same set of elements. So subtracting one from the other, you can make one row of zeros only. So let me make that transformation also before proceeding to the next concept. So 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1. The second row, let me keep the second row as it is, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 1. And the third row can be converted to 0 by using the transformation R3 minus R2. R3 to be converted as R3 minus R2. So let me have all the three transformations so that I can have a very simple matrix. Okay, now I shall explain this new concept. In the definition that follows, a non-zero row in a matrix means a row that contains at least one non-zero entry. A non-zero row is a row that contains at least one non-zero entry. So in that perspective, this row is a zero row. This last row is a zero row because it contains only zeros. And the first two rows are actually non-zero rows. These are non-zero rows because it contains at least one non-zero element. So the first two are non-zero rows and the third one is a zero row. A leading entry or a pivot of a row refers to the leftmost non-zero entry in a non-zero row. So consider a non-zero row, consider the first non-zero row, the leftmost non-zero entry. So this one is the leftmost non-zero entry of the first row, and hence this is called a leading element or a pivot. Similarly, consider the second row. 2 is the leftmost non-zero entry, and therefore this 2 is also considered as a leading entry or a pivot. The third row being a zero row, there is no significance to this leading entry or pivot element because pivot element or leading entry is defined for a non-zero row only. So now let us consider an important concept called echelon matrix. An m by n matrix is said to be an echelon matrix if all non-zero rows are above any row of all zeros. The number of zeros preceding the first non-zero entry is more than the corresponding number in the previous row. That is, all the entries in a column below the leading entry or the pivot are zeros. So let us make the concept clear with respect to this particular example. Echelon matrix is a particular way of writing the matrix. And we can call a particular matrix as echelon matrix only if it satisfies these two properties. The first property is all non-zero rows are above any row of all zeros. So all the non-zero rows, so the first two are non-zero rows, they are above a row of zeros. The number of zeros preceding the second condition, the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero entry is more than the corresponding number in the previous row. So please note that before the first non-zero entry of the first row, there are no zeros. So before the first non-zero entry of the second row, there should be at least one zero. And before the first non-zero entry of the third row, there should be at least two zeros. So because there is one zero before 2 here, and therefore there should have at least two zeros before the first non-zero entry. If at all there is a non-zero entry in the third row, it should have at least two zeros preceding it. So in that way, with respect to that definition, what we have obtained here is an echelon matrix. So note that this echelon matrix has a step-like pattern that moves down and to the right through the matrix. So it's a step-like pattern. Now let me give you a few other examples also. Consider this first matrix 2 minus 1 3 2, 2 minus 3 1 2. 0, 1, 3, 5, 0, 0, 0, 5. So this is also a clear example of an echelon matrix. There are no zero rows here. All the rows are non-zero rows, because in the third row also you can see there is at least one non-zero element, and hence all the three are non-zero rows. And note the second condition before the first. So this 2 is the first pivot element. Before 2 there are no zeros. This 1 is the second pivot element. Before this 1 we have 1 0, that is it has number of zeros, that is that number is greater than the corresponding number in the previous row. Then the pivot in the third row is 5, and before 5 there are 3 zeros, and that number of zeros is also greater than the corresponding number in the previous row. Hence this is an echelon matrix. Also you can see that all entries in a column below the non-zero entry are zeros. So below the pivot element 2 we have all zeros. Below the second pivot element 1 we have all zeros, and so that condition is also satisfied. Now look at this example 2. You can see that all non-zero rows are above the zero row. Then below the first pivot element 1 we have all zeros. Below the second pivot element 1 we have all zeros, and before the third pivot element 1 also we have all zeros. Or you can see that before the first non-zero entry of the first row there are no zeros. Before the first non-zero entry of the second row there are 2 zeros, which is more than the corresponding number in the previous row. Before the first non-zero entry of the third row there are 3 zeros, which is greater than the corresponding number in the previous row. So in every sense this is an example of an echelon matrix. Similar is the case with the third example also. This is also a beautiful example of echelon matrix. And you can see that these elementary row transformations generate equivalent matrices. That means, see this matrix 1, let me call this as matrix 1. This as matrix 2, 1 is equivalent to 2 and 2 is equivalent to 3, because all these are generated by elementary row transformation, and we have the echelon matrix 4 which is equivalent to the previous ones. So by using elementary row transformations we are just getting equivalent system of matrices. So by using this transformation we are just generating equivalent but simple matrices.